Continuing with what we said, I spoke to you all about political reasons for migration. I spoke to you all about what happens when there is some tension in some country. There's terrorism, there are complications related to which is connected to religion, racism, as well as the economic development is not happening because of political reasons. So there is migration. There is the standard of living reduces, and people go through a lot of issues themselves, which does not let them have a bright future. So political and government policies also play a very important role in migration as well. Now, after political, they have said something about they've given a diagram. You have already made a list of reasons why migration occurs. We know the reasons. We are going to go more into detail as and how we come to know. We are going to know more about it. Add more reasons to it, discuss it in the classroom, classify the reasons into pull and push factors, and complete the figures. Now there are push factors and there are pull factors. What are the pushing factors? What do you mean by the pulling factors? We are going to get some more knowledge about this. As long as the financial, physical, and psychological needs of a human being are fulfilled in a region, he remains in that region. Now, students, when you are settled in a city, you're comfortable, you've grown up, you're looking forward to, as an adult, looking forward to good job opportunities. If there is mental satisfaction, emotional satisfaction, and financial satisfaction, and there is no stress on the physical capabilities of your existence, then you right to remain in that region. So there are reasons of being in a particular city, town, or a region. But when these needs become difficult to be fulfilled, he leaves the place. Any of these reasons, what has been stated, financial, physical, psychological, when these needs aren't fulfilled to the optimum or you don't get satisfaction on any of these arenas, you, you decide to move out of that particular region. There is no emotional satisfaction. You are under stress. A person cannot work under stress, pressure. So any kind of stress related to financial, physical, psychological can hamper one's standard of living. The factors that cause people to move away from their original places are called push factors. Now suppose there is a city Mumbai and there is a city Nasik. We know Mumbai is it's very populated. The communication, the transportation takes a lot of time, but we have got very good opportunities. I can get some job over there. So there are many people around India, in and around India, who flock to Mumbai because they know the pros and cons of going into a particular city. Good earning capacity. You can have a better standard of living. Yes, now the scene is very different. It's very difficult to survive on a daily basis. You can't have that many savings as you had earlier. But there are some pushing factors. Pushing factors means which pushes you towards moving out from your own state. For example, reduced employment opportunities, wars, drought, water or air pollution. Now, I spoke to you all about farmers' conditions. What happens when these farmers go through all these problems? What happens? There is drought. If there are no rains, how are they going to survive? How are the crops going to grow? And how is that whole cycle going to run? Water pollution, water scarcity. Many places we see water scarcity. In our own city also we see some places which are going through water scarcity problems, and more so in the summers. Water scarcity is a big issue because water intake increases as well as the scarcity also hampers. Air pollution, we know if it's crowded, urbanization is there, pollution is ought to get into it. Employment opportunities. Employment opportunities. I have studied, I have educated myself, I have a degree in hand, but I go for a job and I don't get the kind of pay what I need to run my house. Would you be motivated? So the employment opportunities are a big problem. Wars, We know what our country is going through if we go through a war, what happens. For that matter, India and Pakistan, India and Bangladesh, India and China, Syria, Iraq, Kuwait, US. So all of these countries, for various reasons, have gone through, history is based on these wars. There were wars inside also within the country. So wars uh, have digressed the human quality of life. On the contrary, when people are attracted to a region due to some factors, they are called pull factors. Now, I gave you an example that I want to go to Mumbai and settle. Why? I gave you the reasons. There are more pros, there are more advantages. So these forces are pulling me towards that city. I want to leave my own city and go and settle in Mumbai. So these are the pushing factors. Example, education and availability of employment opportunities. Education, good quality education. Now we know there are many places in India, cities, uh, which are very famous for their educational quality. Pune itself is known as Oxford of the East. So we know why Pune stands apart, wherein we have good colleges, good educational system, employment opportunities. Yes, there are many good employment opportunities in various cities. Hyderabad, cyber city for IT engineers. We have in Pune itself, we have Hinjewadi, Wakad, which is occupying a lot of these engineers. So these are the pulling factors. Children from various states come over here for good job opportunities and settle over here. So these are the pulling factors. Now, causes of migration. Now, what is a push and a pull? Understand that these are small definitions which can come for the exam. The causes of migration may be attributed to push and pull factors. A push factor is a forceful factor that exists in a country of original country. A pull factor is an attractive factor that exists in the country of destination. Now, something in some other country is attracting me towards it. It may be employment opportunities, maybe the educational factor, maybe better standard of living, policies, whatever. So these are the attracting factors pulling me towards a particular country. Pushing me means I'm forced to move from my place of origin because of various reasons. So understand these two concepts, push and pull factors. Push is forceful and pull is attractive. It's pulling, it's working in your favor. Push is something which is not working in your favor. As humans, for our survival and our existence, there are certain factors which have to be taken into consideration. So they can be push and pull factors. Now look at the push factors and pull factors. They have been bifurcated. We'll go through it one by one. Lack of jobs. If there is no job availability, as I said, I have got a degree, I have got a master's degree, and I don't have a good job opportunity in my origin region. So what am I going to do? I will be forced to move out. Push is forced, pull is attraction. Political instability. Political instability refers to which factors? Those factors which are related to government policies, wars, terrorism, governance. Bad governance also comes into political instability. Poor medical facilities. Now, many countries are struggling with this. Most of these African countries, they have not come to the position, they are underdeveloped countries. So they are fighting with these medical facilities. They don't have proper vaccination. They don't have proper they don't have hospitals, educated doctors to look after these patients. Lack of religious freedom. This is a topic which is taboo at times, but there are various religious factors which matter. Where most of these people don't want to stay in that particular region. So they follow religion is like something very strictly followed in particular countries. Poor educational opportunities. Our parents educate us thinking that we can have a better future. So that gets beaten up when there are no good educational opportunities, when they are staying in that place and they don't have better schools, good classes, good courses, and which can help better your living later future. So poor educational opportunities for some parents to move out of that particular region. Financial stress. I have 100 rupees. I'm earning 100 rupees, okay? And the expenses, the place where I'm staying, it's pretty expensive. So I can't save that much amount of money. And this is happening for a period of months, over a period of year and period of years. So there is stress, financial stress, where I'm not able, it's like hand to mouth situation. So the financial stress puts pressure on human beings to a greater level. Prevalence of natural disasters. As I said, there are some countries which are prone to natural disasters, drought, floods, earthquakes, volcanoes, tornadoes, tsunamis. So these are some related topics which come under natural disasters. Earthquake prone areas, you wouldn't want to stay over there. Volcanic, abroad there are many areas which are volcanic. So these people, their security is at stake, their life is at stake. Lack of public amenities and utilities. Now, public needs some facilities, some utilities which are prevalent throughout the year. If that is not there, it hampers the basic routine life of people living, those citizens in that country. So what creates a problem is they are forced, because on a daily basis I am struggling with the utilities. I can't avail these facilities. So what do I do? So I'm forced to leave my country or my region or my city or my town to move out. Infertile land. Infertile land is related to rural areas, agricultural land. There are many villages and many districts, regions, small towns where agricultural land is not that fertile. I I gave you an example. If you keep reusing our agricultural land, the quality of the soil reduces, the crop takes uh, a beating, and there you can't produce any more. So now what we spoke about are the pushing factors. Means I'll repeat now: lack of jobs, political instability, poor medical facilities, lack of religious freedom, poor educational opportunities, financial stress, prevalence of natural disasters, lack of public amenities and utilities, infertile land. Now the pulling factors which are attracting me towards a particular or some other region or country. Job opportunities. I get beautiful job opportunity. I'm getting good perks. If I am working for a very good company, I get different medical facilities under that company. There are daycare systems in some different companies and IT companies where you can get your children along. So there are a lot of good opportunities. Better living conditions also, I said. They get good housing complexes where some companies pay their rent. They get some free miles for interstate or international travel. So that also adds on. Political and religious freedom. If you are in a democratic country, you have the freedom of speech, freedom of right to live the way you want to. We are a democratic country. If it's a communist country, if there is dictatorship, would you be able to live that way? No. Dictatorship and communal countries have their own rules and laws. They are very strict. You can study about North Korea and China. These are the two examples immediately what I can think of, which are communist. Better healthcare. Healthcare facilities. People living in US, why are they living in US? Because there are a lot of good medical facilities. Uh, uh, they have better, they give better opportunities to doctors, engineers, STEM. We call it STEM people. Can make it big. STEM means science, technology, education, and medicine. So people who are under this category, they have better good opportunities in the US. There are good higher educational quality of education in US, UK, Finland, Germany, Canada is excellent high studies. Uh, it gives you very good opportunities. You can get a job and it gives you social and financial security. See, students, we all are doing all this for a good life where we have good social security as well as financial security so that our future is not in the dark. Modern infrastructure, good roads, uh, good facilities wherein the trains are concerned, commuting is concerned, transportation facilities, family reunion, you're not curbed. Your freedom is not curbed. In a democratic country, we can accept, respect any caste and religion. There's no biasness, there's no discrimination. Family reunion is there. There is a history behind North Korea and South Korea, and they're struggling for, they've not seen their families for around 10 years, 20, 30 years. You all can read a lot about, as I said earlier, that you all can see about this freedom or democratic and communist countries. You can weigh the plus and minuses and how is their working system, how is our working system. And family union also comes into that picture. Modern infrastructure, I already told you about. More reliable source of food. Food is not restricted. We have abundance of food as well as the quality and the types and exotic food what we get. So we can avail all these facilities and these are the pulling factors. So pulling factors again is job opportunities, better living conditions, political religious freedom, better healthcare, high quality education, social and financial security, family reunion, modern infrastructure, more reliable source of food. Now this is the impact. What is the impact? Impact of migration and population. We have studied various aspects of population. Migration affects two factors. What are the two factors? Distribution and density of population. Both I have spoken about in detail and we've discussed. Migration takes place between two regions. Definitely it takes between two regions. It's not beyond two regions. One of them, the donor region. Donor region is the original region, while the other is the recipient region, the region where you're going to. So, which are the two regions? They can ask you as objective questions and state the pull and push factors. What is migration? Types of migration, duration, reasons. This can be a long question, short question. It can come as objective question also. So these can come as MCQs also. So yes, donor region is original region and recipient region is the region you're getting into. The pull factor. Push is your original and pull is your recipient. Population of a region requires housing, water supply, simple housing. I mean, you need food, clothing and shelter. Water is a must. It's a lifeline. Transportation, health facilities, education, recreation. Recreation is related to what? Parks, gardens, sanctuaries, museums, nice open spaces where people can relax and just settle. In a donor region, migration causes less or no utilization of these facilities. In donor region, why are you moving out from your own original place? Because these facilities are not available, they are less. As a result, expenditure incurred on them becomes unnecessary because population there has reduced. Now, because the population has reduced, there is another aspect to it. So, income incurred on them becomes unnecessary. Means it's useless. You don't need to uh, put in money in that. In such regions, Sex ratio and age structure, the gender and the age structure also change tremendously because there's nothing which is pulling me towards it, so I'm moving out. So this also takes a hamper. For example, majority of men in the working age group of the state of Kerala go to foreign countries for employment. Now Kerala, particularly there are people who migrate to Arab countries and settle over there. As a result, Kerala has higher sex ratio than other states, 1084 in 2011. When we consider the age structure of the state, we find that the number of children and older people exceeds young age. So this is not working for that state because the working population has reduced and the dependent population has increased. The young population and the elderly population is the dependent population. On the contrary, the recipient region may face a pressure on provision of facilities, housing, water supply, transportation and prove insufficient as compared to the population. Now this can also take a hampering. All these facilities can take a hampering. A large chunk of agricultural land is used for non-agricultural purposes like housing. This I have said. This is a biggest problem right now in our country. All the agricultural lands are being grabbed for various reasons and there's construction happening left, right and center. If we don't have agricultural land, how is food going to be produced? Food is going to become scarce and living is going to be impossible. Also, prices of land increase tremendously. It's running into crores, you are seeing. There are various areas in our own city where the prices of owning a shop or a house is skyrocketed. Lack of housing leads to increase in slums. Now, if you can't afford a house, you are living into these slums called pigeonholes for me. So because you can't afford that much amount of money. Public facilities get affected very badly. Public facilities also take a toll. Economic inequality rises in such cities because every aspect is going against the development. So economic development also is going to take an hampering. Crime rates may also increase. Crime increases because you want food, you want something. So there are various illegal acts which people get into. Violence, crime rate, all that increases in these countries. The recipient region may also have an unfavorable sex ratio. That is the male versus female. For example, Mumbai 832, Pune 948. Also, working population may be higher than other age groups. There is great deal of exchange of new ideas and concepts in such region. These become centers of creation and new research. Now, when there is something which is there's prosperity happening in some certain state, so what happens? Research takes place, exchange of new ideas, innovations, technology creeps in, development takes place. And now, because we are in a digital world, you all can see today the whole scenario has changed. Whatever may be the reason, but the whole scenario of teaching, learning, education, doing business, health, everything has changed. So it's become a digital world. Consequently, development, especially economic development, also takes place on a large scale. So this is the impact of migration. What is the impact of migration? We have seen. Now, consequences of migration. Migration carries with it numerous consequences for both the host and the receiving country. The country from where you are moving out and the country you are getting into. And the country of origin as well as on the individual level. At an individual level, everything starts. Consequences may be either positive or negative. There is a pro and a con. Effects of migration may also be categorized as social, political, or economic. Now, what are the consequences of migration for the host? This is for your knowledge. Positive brain gain, cultural diversity, increase in labor force, growth in total population. It adds to the labor force. You have more working population. There is a growth in the population growth, a positive population growth, expansion of industries, because if there are many people and there's working population, there can be and upliftment in the industries and factories. Employment can be created. Cultural diversity, people from all over the country come and settle. So there's cultural positivity. Negative side, there's greater pressure on resource of the country. Now, there's greater pressure on the resource of the country. Definitely, people who have gone away from here, it's going to add on to their pressure. Greater pressure on social services of the country. Growth in total population, but non-working population it can be. Financial resources exported outside of the country. Consequences of migration for the country of origin. Now the main country. Remittances benefit economy. Migrants return with useful skills. It can be these migrants, when they are returning, they are more knowledgeable. They have all those skills and abilities which they can progress in their own country. Population size decreased. Opening up of job market. There is a job market, a new job market created for such kind of people. Negative, brain drain, downsizing of industries. Industries have gone for a toss because there is not much labor. Population size also takes a toll. Consequences of migration on individuals. Individually, how is it going to have a positive and a negative impact? Now, I can have an increase in my income. When my income is increased, what happens is my standard of living increases. New cultural experiences. The cultural experiences, what I may go through, I may learn a lot about different cultures, religions, and I will learn how to be in sync and in cooperation with these cultures. Learning new skills. I can learn new skills. I have migrated to some other country. I have learned their way of living, their way of infrastructure, better education and health facilities. I've got to know their infrastructure, knowledge about that infrastructure, better educational and health facilities, definitely. Greater access to recreational facilities. The negative side, family instability because you're away from your family. Burden of dependency, you're dependent. Culture shock. Now, all of a sudden, you've migrated from one country to another. Their culture is very different. Their way of living, their way of eating, sleeping, everything, their way of believing in things. Their beliefs are very different from us. So it's a cultural shock. So initially, you have to actually counter that first. The first shock what you go through is the culture shock. And then you have to, as it seeps in, you settle down with it, and then other things take progress. Urbanization, I have discussed what happens with urbanization. This is usually as a result of rural to urban migration. Human movement to more central locations lead to expansion into the surrounding countryside. I have spoken a lot in detail about urbanization. Such movement has a number of consequences. Urbanization comes with its pros and cons. Now students, we have completed today both the topics of population 1 and population 2. You have these two exercises which have to be solved. Now there are various reasons, geographical reasons. Identify the correct correlation, whether it's reasoning or assertion. You have to solve these both exercises. If you all find any difficulty, if you all go through any difficulty, please let me know. We have tried to do all those tables. I have explained you all how to know, understand these tables, how to get them, and I've given extra knowledge about all these countries which you all can use them as examples. You all can learn various terms. There are a lot of terms in chapter 1 and chapter 2 which you all need to know. Learn these definitions, learn the differentiations, write them out, make a note of these, learn the objective type questions so that it becomes easy when you all approach the exams. You all are able to approach it in the objective form as well as in the subjective way also. There are good reasons for in developed countries percentage of population engaged in agriculture is low. We've spoken about that. Literacy rate, I have spoken what does literacy mean in definite terms, in Indian terms, what does exactly literacy mean. And why is it an indicator of socioeconomic development? I've spoken about socioeconomic development. So all this, migration is not always permanent. Why is migration not always permanent? The reasons. So you all can solve these questions, and you all have any problem, you all can get back to me. We can discuss it later, and I will try as much as possible to attend to all these problems. Population part 1 and population part 2. I expect all the students to know various definitions. As I have said, definitions play a very important role. Cause, consequences, reasons, all have to be learnt very nicely, because that can come for the exam. Short notes, small short notes also play a very important role. I have given you a small PPTs wherein there's a lot of information available related to it, and I have discussed about all these small topics also. So today we have completed population part